from you again. I believe that right now the Lord has just planted a seed in your heart, and another seed is going to be planted by our good pastor, Rick Rohlin. So without further ado, Rick, give us your word. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause.
When I started this, I had a lot of hair. Guys, killing me. Praise God. All right, Drake, you're on the ball, buddy. They said to me before, guys, just wait, we have something to introduce you. So there it was. Praise God. Praise God. Epic Minis and the other guys, Bob's class left already, so if you are waiting to be dismissed, they've already gone. Praise God. Well, listen, I just have a little brief thing to share with you today, a little encouragement. I do want to let you know, though, because there are things happening, this whole issue of freedom, and I do believe that burning a mortgage is very symbolic of freedom. And so there's more to it than that. It is freedom. I'm encouraging you to grab hold of it for your life. Last week we had Dave and Sandy up here talking about the healing journey. Man, it's good stuff, people. Get in that. They actually came back this week. So they're out there. So especially some of you guys actually said, I want into class, and then for whatever reason, they didn't get your information. So they said, we better get back and get those guys. So if you were one of those guys who ran away. So man, go out and see them. This is powerful stuff. Let me just say this. And we're actually going to start a series next week on the person of Joseph in the Old Testament. And we're going to go through, it's the robe series. We're going to focus on his robe and what God has given them. And then I believe we're going to continue that right through and go through the Exodus out of Egypt. I want you to see, people, there is freedom, but only for those who actually leave. And that sounds like really ridiculous, but not everybody gets it. Some people say, I don't mind my bondage. It's okay. I'm quite comfortable with it. I know how to work with it, and I can, I've known just how to walk around with those chains on me. I've become very good at it. I like it. Well, you do realize you're welcome to keep the chains, but you also realize you're welcome to leave them. And so things like that are strong and are powerful to get out. Like, for instance, this is a crazy thing. Some of you recently here, a couple of you recently had a child who was an adult die through whatever means, just horrific things. So we spent a lot of time praying for you and with you. Then we started to kind of remember and hear about people with recently have lost an adult child. I think we identified at least 7 families right here who recently have had an adult child die. That is a very specialized grieving. And so we said, you know what? Why don't we pull them together? Because nobody understands this except those who have gone through it. So I don't know what the details of that will be. We're just in the formation. But it's things like that where we say, wow, there might be an avenue of freedom for people right here in our midst that we don't even know about. So, we identified 7, and there are probably more out there. And so there's things like that coming because we believe God wants to allow people to move into their next. Now, just as far as this, when you deal with something like that, it never leaves you. You never get over it. But you learn how to walk into the calling of God with it, embracing it, and empowered from it. So praise God. Open up to Exodus chapter 4, if you will. Exodus 4. Brought a stick with me today. Actually, for whatever reason, because I have odd children, I've been taking this stick with me everywhere for the last 2 weeks, and I didn't realize it. I got in the back of my truck this morning. I thought, why is a stick there? I'm going to use it. And it's been there for a long time because, if you've ever raised boys, there's sticks and knives and swords with you all the time. Whether you know it or not, they're there. Just a point of clarification, because somebody asked me, of course, Pitt and Penn State played yesterday, and somebody asked me, is that a Pitt shirt you're wearing? Lord help me if I wear a Pitt shirt. No, it's not. So those of you who are Pitt people, I guess if you want to pretend that I'm wearing this for that. It's actually Eisenhower colors. I'm coaching them this afternoon. You do realize I almost transferred from Eisenhower to Warren because Warren has Penn State colors. So there was, I'm kidding. Exodus chapter 4. This is Moses at the burning bush. He is getting the initial call of God. He's 80 years old. He grew up for the first 40 years in the palace of the Egyptian Pharaoh. And then he tried to free his people by killing somebody. It didn't work out for him. He had to run, was chased away, spent 40 years as a shepherd in the wilderness. He's 80 years old, probably thinking, I'm done. I'm just going to take care of my sheep until they die, and then I'm checking out with them. Boom, done. And so that's where God meets him. God meets him in this burning bush. Calls to him. I'm not going to go into all that. You can go back and read Exodus chapter 3 and get to all that. But then as God is calling him, he goes into a series of excuses, debates, clarifications, whatever word you want to put on it. We all do it. When God says something, we come up with reasons why God is confused. And so Moses did that. One of the things that Moses came up with was the classic what if. Chapter 4, verse 1, as he's debating with God about this call. Remember, he's standing in front of the burning bush at this time. And Moses answered, and he said, what if they do not believe me or listen to me? And what if they say, the Lord did not appear to you? Now, this statement that Moses asked God, I believe is our number one reason that we don't follow the things of God. I believe it's the number one reason why we don't step out in faith, why we don't do big things, why we have in the back of our minds dreams and visions from decades ago that lie dormant. And it is the what if statements, the what if questions. I'm very good at them. So if you need help with your what ifs, I can help you. What are the what ifs? The what ifs are everything that could possibly go wrong. And there are lots of them. God speaks to do this, or you're ready to do this, and you're ready to do it, but then in come all of the what ifs. What if you don't have enough money? What if people don't like it? What if nobody comes? What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I'm too old? What if I'm too young? What if I'm too smart? What if I'm too dumb? They're all there, the what if statements. What if I missed God? What if you really didn't appear to me? What if they questioned that you appeared to me? It is what if after what if after what if. We're all really good at it. If I would say, somebody asked me, what do people, followers of Jesus, what do people of faith, what do they specialize in? I would say they specialize in coming up with a list of what ifs. We're the best at it. God did not allow Moses to stay in the what ifs because he knows that what ifs cripple us. Anything you can look at and say, wow, they sure did something amazing. Wow, how did all of that happen? Listen, here's what happened. They defeated the what ifs. They had them, but they saw past them. And they went through them. If you could say they ignored them, or God superseded them, or they just took the beating as they were going through. So if you're going to walk in anything in your life that's toward the purposes of God, you must deal with the what ifs. I love how God had Moses deal with the what if. Because here's what he didn't do. He never answered the what if question. He never answered it. And I'll tell you what, he won't answer your what ifs either. Because I believe he just says, those are just dumb questions. Do you ever have a kid who asks you a lot of questions and you think, oh gosh, let's just go on to something else. These are crazy questions that we ask. God said to Moses, go to Pharaoh, free my people. He says, well, what if? This is how God responds. This is what I want you to see today. Very simple call to you today, to me too. After he says, what if? And he only asks one what if question, but I think we can rightfully read into that a lot of what ifs that we could have come up with. Then the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? He said, a staff. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. So watch what God does to Moses. Gives him a big call. You're going here. You're doing this. It's going to be great. He says, well, what if? And here's what God says. Hey, what's in your hand? Well, a stick. And if you wanted to be honest, I've been carrying a stick around probably for 40 years. It's a stick. It's a shepherd's staff. Why? Oh, is there something wrong with it? Wrong color? What? We're talking, God, about me having to go before Pharaoh, and you're talking to me about my stick. Imagine this. Like, God, I need something better than a stick. I know this. I've had it. I know what it does. It keeps sheep in line. It points them that way. I can whack them when they get out of line. I can pull them back. I get this. Why are you worried about this? And he said to him, he said, throw it down. Throw it down. And he did. He threw it down. Gosh, if this happens, I'm leaving. He threw it down. If that turns into a snake, you got to get a new pastor, baby. He threw it down. It turns into a snake. You know the whole story. And so I'm not going to go into it. You can go ahead and read it. But watch this. Here's what I want us to hear, people. When God gives us something to do, he will do it with what's already in our hands. He didn't say, Moses, you're going to need a stick for this. Go find one. Go make a great one. Go to stick cutting school, carving school. Take 4 years and learn how to varnish a stick. He didn't. He says, you already got a stick. I'll go with that. Here's what I want you to hear, people. I want you to hear this clearly. See, and I don't think it's by all means accidental that odd things are happening in the world today weather-wise. Because I really believe that if there's anything that wakes people up to repentance, it is feeling small and like you're going to get destroyed. It's a wake-up call. But as people wake up, they don't wake up and turn to God because somebody had a great plan already in place. It is a spiritual thing. And all these people who wake up and repent and come to God, you know who's going to minister to them? Everybody who stands in the presence of God with a stick. That's the qualification. The qualification Moses had was, what did God say? Take off your sandals. The place you're standing is holy ground, basically because I'm here. And Moses, whoa. And then he says, now I've given you a stick. No, he didn't even say that. He says, you have a stick. Let's use that. So here's my challenge to us, people. My challenge is, you need to go before God. I need to go before God and say, God, what's my stick? Where's my stick? Because here's what we all do. If I only had his stick, I'd be used by God. If my stick were a little better, if my stick were prettier, if my stick could be used on stage, if my stick would never be used on stage, none of us are satisfied with our stick. You know what God says? He says, that's the stick you're going to use. Can the stick develop? Of course. Can it change? Yes. But you know what it can do? Laid down before God, it can do amazing, amazing things. And it can free people. So my challenge to us, and you just got some homework. You just need to go before God and say, God, here I am. What have you given me? It is probably what you're going to lead with is something simple. Smiles, a job. This was his occupation. Do not discount your occupation. God will probably start with something there. So look for opportunities there. Get your family. Maybe it's a kind word. Maybe you're a great listener. Maybe you're a great talker. Maybe you have a car. Maybe you don't. But whatever it is God has put in there, lay it down there first of all. I can see many of the things that God has used in my life over the years. There was a season where it was gone and dead in my life. It just was. Gone. with no intention of ever picking it back up. But then you know what happens? God will say, pick it back up. Because I've changed what you had in the natural and I've made it supernatural. And with that, lives will be touched. We have, this is kind of a little bit of an information thing, but I want to bring up a few people here just for a couple of minutes to let them know one of the most basic things you use your stick for. Moses' stick, the most basic thing that a stick was used for was taking care of sheep. Taking care of them. That was the most basic call is loving people. And so if you come up and we have a whole pastoral care team of a bunch of, they're all amazing volunteers. They just love people and care for people. I want them to just share the simplicity of using your stick for God in that. So, and or just you come up. That's fine if it's just you.
Well, some other people better show up. Some of you
just real quick, stand with them. Mickey, Kurt, Tina, and there's a few others who might not be here today. Just share just a second.
We are Barnabas. That's what we call ourselves. All together. And you can be Barnabas too. We want to see anybody in the church that sees somebody has a need, and you got something to help them, then give it to them. Your neighbor needs the lawn mowed. Well, you can mow the lawn for him. You know, your pastor mowed our lawn. Of course, we paid him. But his son came over and helped to mow him. We had a good time. And but you can do that without getting paid. There are people that need their lawn mowed. And you know, the funny thing is we can sit there and complain about it. Why? Their lawn is so long, you go over and mow the lawn for them. I don't know what they would do to you, but it'd be better to mow their lawn than to complain about it. But God has given us a heart to love. He's changed our heart from being people who complain and people who take to people who give. I assigned in my churches when I was a pastor certain ladies and men, but mostly ladies. I said, you have the ministry of hugs. When you see somebody who needs a hug, hug them. And there's a whole lot of people in the church would just enjoy a hug, wouldn't you? Somebody who just knows how to hug, to just put their arms around you and hug you. You know, it's more fun to give a hug than it is to get a hug. I found that. It's more fun to give money than it is to receive money. I found that out. You know, I have a blast about giving things and doing things. I enjoy driving people places. God has given me a ministry and we have a team trying to put together to help people go places. Peter called me up and says, I need you to pick me up in Buffalo. Well, Rick told me that yesterday morning, or yesterday night at 7 o'clock. Well, he called me and says, I need you to pick me up today. I don't know when. But somehow I have to find him where he's going to be and go get him and bring him back here. So, you know, but I enjoy doing that. Well, why wouldn't, you know, because God has given me the ability. We are the people here that want to help you. We are Barnabas. And we want to love you and help you. And we have the connection cards. We'll talk about that. But anyways, I'm going to give this to Mickey.
Yeah, just what Pastor Ed said. We're just a group of people that want to love on other people. And what we want to do, too, is really encourage everybody to get involved in your small groups. Because that way, your group can kind of pastor you. If you have a need, make that known to your leaders in your small group and everybody in your small group. If they can meet that need, that's awesome. That's being the church. If the need is too much, too great for any one individual person, come to one of us or call the church, tell the church what's going on, or your connection cards. That's a really good place to write it down and just make your need. Don't sit on things. If you need something, let us know. We just wanted you to know that.
Amen. Well, we're good, right?
We have two more.
Yeah, no, just you. That's it.
Well, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about food. We have babies and moms that we really want to be able to just love on them. When those babies are born, we want to be able to provide them with meals. So I'm asking if you have not signed up to be part of that, I would really appreciate it if you would. If you're just cooking an extra meal and you know that your neighbor is in need, just go ahead and share, give to your neighbors. We all come together in times of need, like with the hurricanes, and we want to give. This is a perfect way to give. Look at the person sitting next to you. You would know if they are in need more than I would know. So if you're able to know that that person is in need and you have that ability to give to them, you don't have to cook. A rotisserie chicken is already done. Go to the grocery store and pick that up for them. But I would like to leave a form out on the desk. If you're willing to sign up, just leave me your name, your phone number, and an email address, and I will get with you. If you know of someone in need and you're not able to do that need, if you could just call the church and talk to the secretary or talk to someone or talk to one of us when you see us, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Very good. Number one rule of preaching team is you don't talk about lunch right before everybody. Hey, we really wanted you to see these people, so you have a visual, because first of all, these guys are out doing great things, but they have hundreds of people on their team because everybody's on it, and they're helping to organize. So you guys rock. Go get them. Praise God. Yeah. Let me just end with this. AJ, are you guys coming back up? Lost AJ. Are you? Right? No worship leader ever sits in the front row. You're my favorite. See? But I want to end with this because as we continue to love people, as we prepare, here's what will happen. Get ready for this. When God touches people's hearts, you don't need an outreach strategy. Don't. God's really good at marketing himself. And he does that, and he is doing that, and he'll do it more. And so what we do is we get ready to love, and we get ready to care, and we get ready to hug, and all that stuff. Get ready for it, people. What's he going to use? He's going to use the sticks you already have. And let me just encourage you with this, because none of us think we have anything to offer God. If you're in that place, ask somebody else what sticks they see in your life. They see them all. They see them all. And then believe them. They're not lying to you on that thing. Because here's the story, people. There's hundreds of more people who need to experience the love of God. Hundreds of them. And so as you step out in faith, for instance, we'll do more of it over the way, but in a few weeks, we're actually going to start an early morning service in the cafe. Somebody said, well, why? You got some empty seats. I said, well, if you ever waited till the seats were full to increase, you would never increase. Whatever it is, we know what faith is. Faith is stepping out into something you don't need. It's faith. So there'll be an early morning 9 o'clock service. It'll actually be in the cafe. That's why I point over there. And it's really because of those of you people who used to sit in the cafe. I know you've never liked me since you had to come back in here. And so, yeah, see, I can see head nods. Yes, you're right. We've been holding a grudge for a year now. And so, no, so it is good. It's going to be awesome. Because why? Because people's hearts are getting touched. And you know what they're looking for? They're looking for somebody who takes their stick, lays it down, says, God, here I am. I'm ready for you. So ask God this week what stick he's given you. Expect him to show you, as you lay it down, how to use it. It's going to be really good.